how stress affects your body and health, according to science. If you knew before how stress affects your body and health, you would never stress over trivial things ever again. Stressing over this, stressing over that. Stress is everywhere. As we set foot in the information age, our stress has increased tenfold. 15,000 years ago, stress was mostly caused by something physical. People were under the pressure to find food and stay safe. In a way, this is also mental stress, but the outcome is physical, and the stress is very different than the one today. When you woke up this morning, you were not stressed about the food you are going to eat, right? And you were not stressed about your safety of a lion attacking you on broad daylight. We now have so many choices of what we want to eat that the choice itself is causing us stress. And yes, now we even pay to see lions in cages. The first stress you had today was a notification you received from one of your social platforms. Emails, Viber, WhatsApp, Facebook. You name it. The stress we now have is mostly mental, rather than something that might happen in the physical reality. We have more stress caused by fear rather than something that might put our life in real danger. Mostly stress is caused by money, relationships, and work. That is the global stress the vast majority of people fight over and over again in their heads. Now, don't get me wrong, I agree that these three things are really important, but the stress is mostly caused by something that will never happen. In the previous video that you popped right above my head, we talked about how many of the things we worry about turn out to be true in real life. In the study, people were asked to write down their worries over an extended period of time, and then identify which of those worries did not actually happen in the physical reality. It turns out that 85% of the things you worry about never happen. And with the 50% that do happen, 79% of the people discovered that A, they could handle the difficulty better than expected, and B, the difficulty taught them very valuable lesson. This means that 97% of the things you worry over is nothing more than a fearful mind punishing you with exaggerations and misconceptions. The stress we feel is just a made-up story of something that will never happen in the future. Some stress can be good, for example, pushing and motivating yourself to accomplish your goals or even complete some crucial tasks. But a lot of stress is bad, making you feel overwhelmed and ill. It's because the negative effects of stress on immune functions are significant. The question still remains: how stress affects your body and health? Champs, before we continue, you would do me a huge favor by smashing that like button and subscribing on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for doing that. Now let's continue with the lesson. No matter how many times we tell ourselves not to worry about trivial things, something always gets to us. What happens is that we start creating an endless loop of stories that will probably never happen and then stress about the outcome of those fairy tales. This can cause serious health problems, according to science. Just think about your life. When life is good, life is not stressful, right? That's because stress on your body and mind can press down your immune system. And why is that? That's because your body goes into overdrive so you can perform with full steam in order to tackle your stressors. This can cause the strength of your immunity to suffer. So how does really stress affect your body? Here is the basic language of stress. Learning some of the basics will give you a better understanding of your body's natural responses. So here are the basics. Number one, stressor. A stressor is any stimulus that causes stress. There are two kinds of stressors, physical and psychological. Physical stressors are stress on the body. Psychological stressors are stress on the mind. Number two, hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is an important command center in the brain. This region is about the size of a penny and it sits right in the middle of the brain. It controls the activity of the pituitary gland and regulates hunger, thirst, sleep, body temperature, and many emotions. Number three, pituitary gland. This is the master gland responsible for releasing most of the hormones in your body. Number four, adrenal glands. These are the triangular glands that sits right above the kidneys and they are responsible for releasing cortisol. And number 5, cortisol. This is the primary hormone released into the blood in response to stress. Now here's how your body handles stressful situations. Before we continue, make sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you for that, and let's continue. Your body's really smart mechanism. It does miracles just to protect you from something that might hurt you. Like you pay attention to the strange looking fella next to you, your body pays attention to defend itself from external sources. When you experience stress, your body has protocols. Without those protocols, we wouldn't be able to survive a species this long, especially when it comes to stress. The protocol begins when a stressor comes along and puts pressure on your mind and body. The part of your brain that recognizes stress is called hypothalamus. As soon as the hypothalamus recognizes a stressor, it sends a swift message via neurons to the neighboring region in the brain called pituitary gland. This gland registers the signals sent from the hypothalamus and then tells the adrenal glands that are just above the kidneys to increase the stress hormone circulating in the blood. This is Stress Protocol 101 and the exact response pattern of your body every time it recognizes stress. But let's go even deeper and connect the dots between stress and your immune functions. It all boils down to your primary stress hormone called cortisol. This crucial hormone does a wonderful job by providing your body with energy in times of stress. But the effects of cortisol are temporary. Once the stress wears off, so does the energy boost. Another way cortisol helps your body manage stress is by powering down any non-essential operations in the body. Unfortunately, stress hormone shuts down the immune system to conserve energy so it can run away from the threat. But this stressful period makes it the perfect time for germs to settle in. This is so true and powerful that when surgeons transplant organs, they give their patients stress hormones to lower their immune system. They do this because the body's immune system may reject the new organ, so they lower it on purpose so the body can accept it. Long story short, how stress affects your body is to your benefit, but sadly not without consequences. So what can we do to prevent stress from doing severe damage on our health? The first thing we can do is smash that like button and continue watching. What is happening today is that we are being fed with so much information spreading fear, especially with the current situation, is that we are lowering our immune system on a global scale. Just by knowing this fact, we should pick the information we are fed very carefully and do everything in our power not to let our fear be fed by external factors. Since information is the biggest cause of fear today and not real danger, we have 100% control of the things we stress about. After all, thanks to science, 85% of the things we stress and worry about never happen. Many of the serious health problems today are psychosomatic, meaning that we are the main cause of the problem. Yes, external factors have big impact on our health, but we have the power of choice. We can literally be the hero we've been searching for. I think the real problem is that we find it easier to point fingers and blame other people as to why we fail. It's easier to put our failure on her bill than to take full responsibility from the consequences of our own actions. If I tell you to do a backflip and you end up hurting your leg, whose fault is it? Your fault or mine? It is the same example with the major decisions. If your parents want you to be a doctor and you hate every second of it, it's not your parents' fault if your life is miserable 10 years from now. Just like accepting the backflip was your decision. These are just few examples. Don't take them to heart. As you grow, you will be challenged with many things from external sources. If I look back and followed every advice from my parents and friends, I would have ended up working 9-to-5 job, caged in a cubicle, miserable, and hating every second of my life. Do not let someone else's view on life affect how your life unfolds. We all perceive life differently. You watching this video will affect you differently than it will affect your brother, your sister, or even your friends. This means that no one can tell you how you can do something. Of course, they can give you an advice, but it's up to you how you apply that advice in the physical reality. After all, I have learned the most valuable lessons from my failed attempts. I think the real power is to take full responsibility over the things that affect our life. Only then we can truly learn the lesson and stop the same mistake from happening all over again. Take precautions. Make yourself the main protagonist of your own life. And don't forget how stress affects your body, because you can seriously harm your overall health and do irreversible damage. Since you watched the entire video, I would really appreciate if you can smash that like button and subscribe on my YouTube channel. And don't forget to watch this video next because you're gonna love it.